Congratulations! You are at the right place at the right time to start your day with a lightning bolt of energy. Most news programming, morning talk shows, or other podcasts are not launching you into your day or accessing even a fraction of your greatness and potential. If you want more money in less time with more magic, and if you want to find what works to scale your sales and business with the actionable formula of formulas, then the Unblinded Huddle is the #1 way to start your day with an infusion of integrity-based human influence. With your host, Shawn Callagy and the Unblinded team, and the entire Unblinded movement.
Good morning and happy Thankful Thursday to all of you amazing folk out there. We are ready to rock and roll for today. Just having some fun, Fernando, getting ready for work. And I was like, yeah, it's time to get ready for work. So I took my Tahoe sweatshirt off and put my Unblinded sweatshirt on. I took my deep blue diver's hat off and put the Unblinded hat on. I'm like, ready for work. What's present for you, brother?
I am present to the power of teaching, the power of competition. And even though we're on Thankful Thursday, I feel like I'm a wrestling coach who's coaching a young man in high school, and he just finished eating a bunch of junk food before his match. And in my mind, and to him, I'm screaming, what are you doing? What are you doing? That is how I feel. And that's the energy I'm bringing to everyone that has the pleasure of dealing with that energy today. And that's what I'm present to, sir.
Well, it is my belief, and we're finalizing it, that very coach that was yelling and screaming at me, what did you eat? As I screwed myself up completely with horrific self-mastery. As a sophomore at Emerson High School, Coach Stan Woods will be on the huddle with us tomorrow. The winningest wrestling coach in the history of the state of New Jersey. Coach Woods is an icon, literally winningest wrestling coach, history of the state of New Jersey, 53 years and never a losing season at a small public high school where you can't recruit, you can't pick your athletes in a sport of wrestling, which has unbelievable variance in a small school and what happens. Just an iconic leader. And so we're going to be talking about self-mastery, leadership, and how we do some of how Coach Woods has been Coach Woods for all this time in the context of the formula. So coming up tomorrow. So we didn't set that up, and Fernando just said it. So, hey, again, Thankful Thursday. Welcome. If it's your first huddle, yeah, we're here to get the day going. We've innovated the format a few times, and people are like, hey, like, what is the format currently? We're going to have a couple teaching points. We're going to move things forward. But those teaching points aren't like, hey, I have a tip for you. You know, make sure you have your business card on you. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking innovative dynamics to touch upon. And we have two super important ones for today that we're going to hit. Before that, though, Fernando, what is Unblinded? Do we want to bring somebody aboard to have a quick what is Unblinded moment and unmute somebody? Happy to do that. If not, do you want to jump in with it?
Yeah, you know what? Let's see. Jared, if you want to go ahead and choose at random, we'll give it 30 seconds. I'll give a brief answer, and then we'll see where we go. Unblinded is unblinded. And the unblinded results formula is a formula that's designed to help you achieve any result you want in life. Primarily, what our students have been focusing on is influence mastery, which is the growth of sales in their business and growth acceleration. And as we've shifted into process mastery, we've realized the importance of not only thinking about what to do, but more importantly, measuring and actually doing it. And we got Shawn Grosey here, who is part of our sales team, who is dominating bring Unblinded to Canada A. I don't even know if that was like proper Canadian grammar. But Shawn Grosey, what's happening, man? What is Unblinded?
Fernando, that was such a horrific A that not only is Shawn upset, but Mona's upset. And Shannon, who's at the Oceanfront Beach House right now, listening potentially, is incredibly upset and rolling. That was brutal. So Shawn, what's up, brother? How are you?
Hey, fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Could you give us an actual legitimate A?
The legitimate A or the strange brew A?
I prefer the strange brew of the McKenzie Brothers A. Like that would be much preferential, like far, like a great preference for me. But that's okay.
As in a take off hoser A.
Yes.
Oh my God.
You know what? And we also have some fun here on the Unblinded Huddle. So Anthony Gonzalez, in 1984, I'm sleeping at his house, and he and my buddy Chris we're just like all hanging out as goofy, crazy 8th graders. And I make the mistake, Shawn, of falling asleep. So I'm asleep. And I wake up to like a blowtorch in my face because they decided that it would be funny while I fell asleep during watching Strange Brew with the McKenzie brothers, that they would take a lighter and hairspray and make a blowtorch to wake me up. Like that actually happened. So Fernando, in case you're wondering why we can have some interesting, fiery, and crazy moments at times, is because I've been around some of the craziest humans on the face of the earth, and I survived and lived to tell about it and call them my friends to this day, because Anthony was at my 50th birthday party in my house and laughing about the fact that he almost burned my face off with a blowtorch. So that happened. So yes, that's what I think about when I think Strange Brew. I think of getting my face burned off. So Canada equals A equals McKenzie Brothers. McKenzie Brothers equals Strange Brew. Strange Brew equals blowtorch and happy memories from my childhood. Get it? Like that's what happened.
And just a real quick note, we just had a McKenzie Brothers bronze statue put up in Edmonton here because that's where it was filmed.
Wayne Gretzky is the second most famous person ever from Edmonton, or that played in Edmonton. McKenzie Brothers, #1 in my book. So Shawn, what is Unblinded?
Unblinded, integrity-based human influence. It is a movement. It is a way of life. It is how people go from hello to yes and get what they want in life.
Beautiful, brother. And I would just add the money, time, and magic they want.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and when I get to a sub-distinction, merging ecosystems to create more sales meetings, for more sales, to create more disposable income with integrity. Shawn, I am so grateful for your confidence, your belief, your work, your heart, your effort. I really appreciate it, brother.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, have an awesome Thursday. Thanks. Okay, so Fernando, we said 2 teaching topics for today, right? So one is we talked about the 10 by 10, and this is our innovation call this morning. We're gonna bring it up today, and we're hitting the 10 by 10 from different angles so people get it. Because the most challenging thing that occurs for folks is when they think that something is linear. Oh, I get it. It's like this. Fernando, how much has your viewpoint expanded on that something is not just one thing? Like the outcomes it produces are many. So for example, when we first began to talk about the 10 by 10, to even evaluate it, we talked about it from all the different perspectives of people involved in it and all of the outcomes it produces for the people in it, as well as Unblinded. Comment on that, please.
Yeah.
As a general concept, that one thing isn't just a thing, it's like tons of effective outcomes flow out of a something.
Yeah, so the interconnectedness of 1, your mind, 2, the formula, and 3, the truth of what ecosystem merging is, has been truly expansive to the way I view business marketing, sales, revenue, and marketing. And just a simple example, and I'll pass it back to you, is the real Raw Roleplay. For some people, it's still entertainment. Like it really is like, oh my God, this is exciting. I get to go view Shawn and hopefully learn something. And in my world, I'm like, that is maybe the 14th most important reason of what it is. And there's 13 other reasons why it's so effective. So from the huddle to our mastery program to the real Raw, everything has multiple reasons. And that's the difference from looking at everything from addition, which is linear, and multiplication, which is exponential.
Yeah. So in case you're like, that's a lot to digest, here's the simple version of that. Respectfully, you still can't possibly understand the implications and impact of building your 10 by 10. It's just impossible. It would take a month of 12 hours a day study. You go, well, how am I going to explain it to people? You don't have to. Just explain. It's going to do a ton more than I could ever explain, right? Watch this video and it does this. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow on the second module. For today, here's what the 10 by 10 does. One of the many things it does for you. You're part of a 10. You're leading a 10. The way we learn, here's takeaway number 1 for today. The way we learn most optimally is by teaching. The way we learn most optimally, anything, is by teaching. Thank you for giving me the gift of allowing me to teach you and train you. As I've been teaching and training more hours a day than I ever have in my life consistently over the last 6 weeks, my sharpness in my thinking and effectiveness in understanding what I don't know, why communication is breaking down, why outcomes don't occur, has like skyrocketed. So you running your 10 by 10 turns you into a teacher. It's what draws people to you and keeps you there, and it turns you into a teacher. Second, it also teaches you where your level of influence is. Because if people are not staying with you in your 10 by 10, it is because there is a level of mastery in your teaching and leadership that is wanting for growth and expansion. Meaning, you need to grow in your leadership and in your teaching. So you're sharpening as you're leading in your teaching. It makes you be better than everybody else there, so they'll want to learn from you, right? And as we build this and have constructed this, I've had to make sure with really smart people and talented people, I have things to teach them. Otherwise, what do they need me for, right? You are needed as the leader of your 10 by 10 for your energy, for your vision, for your teaching of the formula, for the fun energy you bring. That's what leadership is. And we said that Unblinded is about, and I win when I'm sitting in the back row of a giant stadium of 100,000 people and nobody knows my name and nobody knows I'm even sitting there. And all over the world are amazing people like yourself teaching and leading people, or better yet, the people you've taught are teaching. And you have financial agreements that are mutually beneficial where beautiful things are happening from the value you've added to their life and they've added to your life. Pause. Fernando, what say you?
What say Fernando is that is one of my favorite new Shawnisms. What say you? So what Fernando says is that teaching is one of the most powerful ways to learn this formula. And I don't say that because Shawn's saying it. I'm saying it because I'm living proof, and I'm still living proof. When I met Shawn, it was like a week after, like no one around me could not hear about the formula. And even though I didn't get it and I taught it like crazy, my mastery began to rise because my obsession was, let me teach it. Because when in teaching it, I hear what other people are not hearing me say. And that allowed me to find my blind spots. And even this week, there was like maybe 45 minutes total of conversation where I was like, Shawn, you're wrong. I don't get it. This doesn't make sense. You're seeing this, you're seeing that. It was like heated with love. And then, 4 days later, I called him and I was like, I just want to let you know, you were right. Now I get it. Thank you for your patience. So it is like the constant driving of like back and forth, iron sharpening iron, the desire to teach and understand that rises mastery. Back to you, Shawn.
So point number one is teach equals mastery equals 10 by 10, leading to your 100, right? That's what it is. And the only reason you're going to want to stay in your group of 10 and not move is because somebody is there adding value to your life as your leader, because they're teaching, they're training, they're bringing energy, right? And Fernando just said it. So watch this vertical innovation. You know why I'm saying, hey, Fernando, what say you? Because I felt like we were saying what's present for you too much. So it's a vertical innovation where we stop saying something repetitively so it becomes boring for people. So one of the things I believe as a teacher is we have to keep varying our language to keep things present, fresh, and interesting for folks. So Fernando, you like it because there's a new Shawnism, because I was intentional. I'm like, we can't keep saying what's present for you. And like, we don't lose that. It's really great. But let's keep saying it. But what else can we say? How do we vary it so it doesn't become repetitive, boring? Because we can become prophets in our own town. The more we have proximity to something, the more we learn it, but also the more we can begin to take it for granted. So just as a quick sub-point to our teaching is to make sure we're having some fun and bringing variety. Make sense, Fernando?
Makes 100 sense.
Yeah. Now, we had a second topic for today. Here's our second teaching point for today. Ready? Influence is now a competitive sport.
Boom.
And unblinded equals the league. So like there's the NFL, there's the NFL is for professional football players. The NBA is for professional basketball players. And oh yeah, like people are like, oh, you know what, Fernando and everybody, we're going to play video games, and we're going to make that into a competitive sport with a league. People are like, what? Who's ever going to do that? There's 30,000 people now sitting in places around the world before Corona, and they will again, paying money to watch people play video games. So I think what is much more valuable to the lives of people than watching other people play video games or watching strangers play professional athletics, which by the way, I love and have so much depth of connection to from my family history. But I think what's way more valuable for people are watching people compete competitively in integrity-based influence. Fernando, what's present for you?
What's present for me is the unblinded being the league. I was clear that influence is a superpower. We have it and we can teach it. And I love what you mentioned on, I have my own take on sports, not going to go through them all as far as like the entertainment value of them, not the competitive and learning leadership portion of them. If there's anything that's worth watching, it's this. It would be how to influence people, because whether you want to grow your business, whether you want to contribute to humanity, whatever your version of fulfillment is to you, influence is necessary. It is absolutely critical and crucial. And that would be time well spent.
Right. Now, did I say that influence is a sport, or did I say that I have another word before the word sport?
You said influence is, I believe you said competition.
Yes. I said it's a competitive sport. So, folks, competition is an essential, I believe, to driving things forward. And integrity-based competition means that you're fairly and honestly evaluating. Your desire is to win, but not by cheating, harming, backstabbing, backbiting. It's like, let's put it on the field, let's see what happens, and who wins. And so let's pause there. So as we look at the real Raw, and it's what's going to be happening in the future, I couldn't more strongly suggest this point, that you see your future, if you want more money and less time with more magic, in eventually developing the skill set to run and lead a real Raw. Now, it's not indispensable. Like, you could still grow your business if that's not eventually who you are, but you're definitely going to want to, at the very least, be aligning yourself with people who are able to run real Raws over time. Because it is, to me, the most disruptive, the most impactful experiential dynamic to awaken the listening of people. Okay. And if we're not competitive and we're in a pleasing mode, so let's distinguish between, like we said, competitive sport. So pleasing equals like Coach Wood would have been Coach Wood saying to me when I was a sophomore in high school and I was winning my wrestling match 8-0 after the first period and came off and then ate a ton right before the match because I had cut weight. And I could have eaten a little, not eaten as much as I did, and eventually losing and getting pinned in the third period. A guy I was dominating and crushing, who was supposed to beat me and crush me. I was a sophomore, he was a senior captain, very talented kid. And I was like on fire and crushing it. And then because my self-mastery was off, it all fell apart. And my team almost lost the match because of my own self-mastery defects, right? When I came off the mat, Coach Woods could have said, hey, it's okay. And, I know you made a mistake and I know you care, but go get him next time, right? The reason I'm talking about that moment to this day and about probably 7 or 8 other moments of my life that changed my self-mastery is because it sounded a lot more like, what did you eat? What did you eat? What is wrong with you? And I remembered not only not to eat again, as he's screaming this in front of an entire gym of people, and my head is down, as I had so selfishly let my team down, let everybody down around me. And I will never forget that moment. And I certainly didn't do it again. And he, I believe, was certainly correct. Now, for some, right, that is not always the way to change behavior. I'm not suggesting that. But in a competitive, dynamic moment where we had built trust, we had built rapport, I knew he loved and cared about me, and he had never screamed at me before that day. And I had known Coach Woods for a number of years before that. But I'm incredibly grateful that he hit me in the head with a lightning bolt in that moment. And being hit in the head with a lightning bolt also, in our competitive dynamics, does not require yelling. And I have many examples I can give for people unlocked my listening that were coaches that could bring like fire like crazy and, like storms. And they did it in a much deeper way that also had impacts. Having the capability of varying those energies is critical. That's why we talk about the 4 energies. And the intensity of those energies in moments is also a critical mastery tool. All of it, though, goes away if we're not competitive. Because if we're not competitive, I think the antithesis of being competitive is being pleasing and being nice. And somebody gave me a recent distinction about being nice that was amazingly important. They said, being nice really can be like fake. Being kind, truthful, and integrity is really what I think you're saying. And somebody that was coaching me on something. And I'm like, yeah, that's amazing. So what Coach Woods was doing in that moment, and we're competing and getting better and innovating our 10 by 10s, and don't hear me saying scream at people, hear me say, tell people the truth. Do not allow, if you're forming your groupings, your ecosystem merging, you're leading, do not remain silent to truth. And so bringing us to, well, actually, let's pause there. Fernando, any questions from the chat, from you, from anybody, and we're going to take this home in a minute, about either of the points for today? Number 1, teaching equals mastery equals 10 by 10. Teaching equals mastery of the superpower of influence equals 10 by 10 as teaching platform. It's a lot of things. It's also a teaching platform. It's that as well. Second, that influence is now a competitive sport. Unblinded, the real Raw, is the league. And we're going to build this out wonderfully with integrity in service of people. And competition is good. It's what makes acceleration happen. Questions, thoughts, or comments from you or anywhere, Fernando?
No questions from me, Mr. Callagy, and none from the group. Jared, I know we got some cool things happening up today. Where are we at?
There was one good question that just flew through. Let's answer this question. Liba posted, is there such thing as being too competitive?
Well, I don't think so. There's only such a thing of being out of integrity. So there is no such thing as being, I never leave it. Great question. No, there's no such thing as being too competitive. It's only if it breaks your personal or external integrity. So I guess if it wouldn't be too competitive to say that I'm committed to making this technology known around the world and it's supporting people. I could break my own integrity if I worked at it 23 hours a day and physically harmed myself or destroyed all of my personal relationships. Then I'd be out of integrity, not too competitive, right? So we have to have integrity, but we could never have too much fire and passion. Jared, would you agree or disagree with that statement?
I absolutely agree with it. And so does the chat. I don't know who this person is. They said, now I know why I've not been satisfied. I lost that competitiveness. I lost the hunger. How can I take it back?
We'll talk about that. With Coach Woods tomorrow, we'll talk about that because there's going to be an 80-year-old man here, an 80-year-old man who still is on fire to unlock the self-mastery potential of young men after 53 years, and he's never lost that competitive fire, right? And one more thing, Jared, before we wrap. For anybody that saw the Real Raw yesterday, we dropped some insanity and some fire and some craziness. I'll give the 20-second version of it only for those that saw it. I love everybody unconditionally with boundaries. I was in loving service of creating disruption, the same way people have coached and taught me. Somebody that was on there to me was engaged in disrespectful activities and commentary, and they were not listening. And I ratcheted up my energy until I finally went with the ultimate disruption of, okay, like, you know your way. By the way, I didn't know this, Jared and Fernando, but I got a message this morning that one of the things this person said in the role play was, I said, hey, so I'll call you Joe. He goes, how about you call me Jesus? So I had missed that one on the live, but I heard that this morning. And no judgment, no blame, absolute love. My desire was to unblind a very, very talented person. And so it ultimately led to me throwing the let's make a big bet, and the money goes to the AFB and Operation Underground Railroad. And the person at the end of the day said, no, I don't take the bet. And I did all of that. I was ready to make the bet, knowing that that wouldn't happen. And here's my hope, that we create enough of a breakthrough for additional conversation to do work together and co-create, because that's a very talented person. So I have no negative energy at all. The experience went long. It was super intense. And somebody could say, did you need to go to quite that level of like intensity with your energy? It's a great question. I'll continue to evaluate that. It was my best and most efficient way in the moment to create lightning bolt disruption in a spirit of truth and competition. And I love the Real Raw. I'm super grateful for it. And remember, don't watch it every day. If you're having time blocking issues, get your stuff done. The influence officer coming, watch that once a week. Jared, back to you.
And if I may, Jared, before you take it home, I just want to take a second and acknowledge and congratulate Ray Ratzliff for being the 9th person of 100 to join our coaching program, where you, Shawn, is probably the only time on the planet that you're going to do some one-on-one coaching. Ray, you're on here. Congratulations. You were introduced by L. Anderson. We appreciate your trust, and I'm excited for your yes. Jared, take it home.
Yeah, thank you, Ray. Thank you, L. Thank you, Deepak. Thank you, others. Like, let's go.
Awesome. So today's Real Raw will be a completely different energy, but definitely competitive. These are two extraordinary people within the space of performance. Jeff Spencer has been a friend for many years. Jeff is a chiropractor by background, but he is one of the top peak performance coaches in the world. He spent 9 years as the Tour de France chiropractor and mindset coach, working directly with Lance Armstrong. And over the last 40 years, he's had the privilege to coach, mentor, and advise some of the generation's greatest achievers, from Tiger Woods to YouTube, Bulletproof Coffee to Nike as well. Jeff Spencer is a fanatical competitive man, but different than yesterday, and you'll see that today. The next person up, his name is Will Resin. Will Resin is a high-performance coach and somatic integration specialist. He's an expert in helping people transform their life and career through deep, powerful inner work. He has studied and consumed hundreds of ancient manuscripts on magic, mysticism, esoteric arts, human development, science, alchemy, cultural traditions, and many others as well. Jeff and Will are coming to play. Thank you, David Gonzalez, as always, for finding us the most wonderful contestants for the Real Raw. Registration link is in the chat. Shawn, back to you for final.
Yes. So holy cow. Thank you, David Gonzalez. Like, I cannot wait to have this experience today. Remarkable. And so everybody also gets this dynamic about the Real Raw as we wrap it. Remember, the Real Raw is many things. It's a competitive sport, but it's also relationship building in the Real Raw role play. The influence off, we're not going to have relationship building. We're going to go right into the competition. The influence, the Real Raws and the influence offs are coming. I know we've pushed it back a couple of times, but we're really tightening what that's going to look like. And I'm super excited to launch it. And that's to name the influencer of 2020. The Real Raws are also designed for relationship creation, the judges, the participants getting to know each other, everybody having a little bit of time to share their unique amazingness. And so the first 20, 25 minutes of the Real Raw, maybe even 30, is going to be the dynamic of relationship creation and rapport building. And so if you don't want to watch that part, then tune in at 3:30. It's all good. But no, we want to honor people for the time that they're investing in it to have that opportunity. And the Real Raw can run, it's going to run longer than 60 minutes many times. Sometimes it'll go 60, 70, sometimes it'll go 90. Tony Robbins is an incredible mentor of mine, and there's something, and I mean studying his work, right? He's not coaching me directly, like studying his work, right? And in that space, I have debated time issues with people for a long time. And my resolution is, and I model this from Tony, when he does his interventions, he stays with it until he gets to the appropriate place of breakthrough or conclusion. He just never gives up on it. So the Real Raw is a space of intervention and breakthrough, as well as being a space of competitive sport. So it's going to go long at times. And this is why I say, be very mindful not to be like, okay, I'm going to watch the Real Raw for an hour a day, and this is a part of my training and development. I'm not saying not to watch it, but I'm saying to be super mindful that you building your 10 by 10 is way more important than you watching the Real Raw. Fact for you, okay? The influence offs, like that's what we're going to create massive viewership around. We are going to be editing all the episodes into a shorter dynamic. So that's what's happening. I said the same thing to David Gonzalez yesterday. Just like, let's not be promoting to everybody to watch Real Raws every day, and explain to people it's rapport building, connection. So learn in the beginning how people connect with each other. That's the first segment. The second segment is watch influence be deployed as a competitive sport. Third, be on the lookout for breakthroughs and intervention. Fernando, we have a new 3-point access to the Real Raw. What say you as we take it home to final about those points, Fernando?
Shawn, if I could be totally honest, can you repeat them one more time?
Yes. 1, the first segment, the first half an hour is how you would host a lunch or dinner party of amazingly cool people.
Received.
And build rapport. That's what you're learning in the first segment.
Yes.
In the second segment, you're learning to watch the formula displayed, integrity-based human influence, as a competitive sport with judges and feedback. Third, be on the lookout everywhere for disruptions and interventions when people say, oh, yeah, like, I don't know where, like make weak, untruthful statements about what they're present to when they get into their own ego about why they may not be performing that successfully. And I say that with love, right? But that's what people tend to do. And we're not going to allow people to, in a space of the absence of integrity, meaning truth, to say things that are going to go undisrupted. Jared, any final, brother?
Final is this. Everybody, please let those words land. Your 10 by 10 is the most important action for you to take right now to make more money in less time and with more magic. Your 10 by 10. Be there tomorrow is our next module, Friday, 1:30 Eastern time. More details will be sent. In the meantime, make sure that you are signed up at unblindedbusinessaccelerator.com. Rock out today. Appreciate you all. Here we go.
Thankful Thursday. Love you guys.
Now it's time to break through and crush fear and distortion. What is the one zone action step that will help you most today to make more money in less time and with more magic, and contribute value to the Unblinded ecosystem? After you crush it, then head over to our private Facebook community at www.unblindedmovement.com to share your big win for the day. If you feel great about the Unblinded Huddle, Please share your win for today and any questions you may have for us, along with a 5-star review so we can reach more like-minded people like you. And if you have not already subscribed, please visit www.unblindedhuddle.com to be part of our live ecosystem audience for each morning huddle so that we can help you see what you don't see about the fun, excitement, and magic of exponentially growing your sales.